Hi guys, welcome back to Toxic to Me. Aku Ivana, aku dokter.
Dan aku Christiana, aku psikolog klinis.
And today we're gonna be talking about AI psychosis. So we have a very special guest today with us. His name is Brian. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a proud University of Washington alumni, proud Florida alumni as well. I worked in finance in Seattle area for a couple of years, moved back to Indonesia, worked in startups, technology ecosystem, now working in finance, venture investments. Basically.
So would you say that you have a lot of experience with AI?
The beauty about this job is meeting all the different types of AI companies and all over the world essentially, because I also went to Seattle. I talked to some AI companies, so it brings connections and networks, brings me to a lot of companies and talking to those company bosses essentially.
Well, Tiana, I wanted to ask you, have you heard about AI psychosis?
Very recently, actually. I think I've heard of it, like on TikTok, obviously. I know that AI can hallucinate in the sense that it makes things up. But I think today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, specifically how AI causes hallucinations.
The effects of
AI psychosis in humans.
Right. What about you, Brian?
Are
you familiar with AI psychosis?
Yeah, ever since you told me about that term, I do know about it in a general sense, but it is pretty interesting because like what AI can do for companionship, mental support, but also there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of dangerous side effects, lots of negative effects as well, of course. And it is a multi-billion-dollar industry as well. So
then, as someone who uses AI a lot, do you feel the negative effects of it?
There's a study by MIT that shows that people who uses AI or people nowadays, they use their critical thinking less. So sometimes when you're being asked a question, sometimes you just chat GPT it right away instead of thinking about it first and then answering.
Right.
So yeah, those are the negative effects, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to affect the next generation that grows up with things like this?
So I had an intern. He's studying in the States, and he was talking about how his peers, like his fellow students, they most of them use ChatGPT or AI to answer questions on homeworks or like research and studies and all that stuff. And when you answer homework, back I'm pretty old, so back then I had to also find tutors, try to find answers on my own. If I don't know how to do the answers, I go ask my classmates, friends, all that stuff. But now everything's just more quicker. Like, the effort to get the answer, if you don't know it, is just much more quicker.
Yeah.
And also, I also learned that the teachers also use AI to create the homework questions too. So it is an AI cycle in a way.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, tapi kayak di tempat kerja gue, Ti. And we're doctors, but I see a lot of doctors use AI, like ChatGPT on the regular.
To ask for diagnosis?
To ask for diagnosis, or I know doctors we're also human, right? We can't remember everything. We're not textbooks. But a lot of doctors use it to also ask about diagnosis, ask about things that they forgot. And to me, it almost seems more like a crutch now. You can't operate without it. And I'm just worried, what happens then?
What's your opinion on it as someone who's in the field? What's your opinion on people who uses AI or doctors?
I think it's okay to use AI. Menurut gue nggak apa-apa, because I think when you use it correctly and properly, it can be helpful.
Yeah.
But if you're relying on it to treat people, I think what a lot of us forget is that AI juga bisa salah.
Yeah, AI can hallucinate, right? It can make things up.
I think ChatGPT juga is actually sering salah.
Of course,
even their sources are not.
They make up journal citations.
Yep.
So if you rely solely on that, then you put your blind faith in that, then it's a bit dangerous, no?
No, I agree. So in terms of the medical field, that doctors I was talking about this with a professor from Harvard recently. Misdiagnosis of patients happens every day in hospitals around the world, right?
Yeah.
It's like a multi-billion-dollar mistake, essentially.
Right.
And I spoke about this in my panel for the University of Washington alumni a couple of days ago about AI topic. we interviewed a lot of like AI subject matter experts, and they all agree that people who know their subjects, like who are subject experts, and using the power of AI is a superpower. It's like using a tool that they can use to better create outputs, deliverables, create better answers for people. So AI, if you were a subject matter, if you're an expert in one thing and use AI to enhance those things, you become much more powerful and valuable than someone who doesn't know anything and use AI to create answers. Obviously, everyone will be okay more with the subject matter expert using AI.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there are some AI, like artificial intelligence, that are besides GPT, because I think everyone thinks of GPT lang sungkan.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's just chat GPT it. But there's actually a lot, like, there's one where it helps you analyze journals and stuff, which I really wish I had in uni, right? Because you can just drag like 30, 40 journals and you ask it, like talk to the journal, basically ask it questions. And I think if used correctly, AI is just a tool, right?
Yeah,
But
at the end of the day, it's supposed to be just a tool, right?
Yeah. But I was reading, I think it was one of the business reviews that said that 30% of the entry-level jobs are most likely going to be redundant in the next couple of years because of AI.
That is true.
Right? So that's not the best.
I think I saw a news clip the other day where it said like DBS Bank is freezing.
Oh yeah, I shared that.
I think you shared that.
I was the one who shared that.
Yeah, I think
I took this seriously.
Yeah, they stopped hiring for jobs that could potentially be replaced by AI.
Yeah.
A lot of like service
crazy,
workers,
right? Yeah.
white collar workers are impacted as well, mostly, right?
That's why.
So.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we're at this point of time where AI can simulate empathy and it can it has memory, right? Like AI learns, like the more you ask AI, the more it learns and the more it picks up, right? That's why everyone's ChatGPT kan beda-beda kan, because it adapts to the person asking the questions. And also it has conversational depth.
Yeah.
So it almost creates this illusion of connection.
Yeah, human connection.
Which is why I think AI psychosis is a thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think that, like, from my experience, a lot of people are like, T, like, a lot of clients will come to me and they're like, T, I know I probably shouldn't have done this, but GPT said this and this and this. Which I'm like, I think that obviously people are doing it because they want to, like, use AI as a soundboard, because a lot of people feel uncomfortable when they keep bringing up the same issues with their friends. However, what they don't realize is that AI just basically validates what they're saying and will build off the memory it has of their past interactions and spit out answers that they likely want to hear, or likely it just reinforces their ideas, right? So there was a lot of like memes and videos of this guy who went off his medication, was like asking AI, and then he was like, I hear sounds and voices. And AI was like validating that. So I think, again, it's a tool, but you can't rely on it for everything, and you need to use it for the things it's meant to be used for. And obviously, I think in the future, it can have better uses in the medical field and psychological field. There's a lot of potential there. There's so much potential there. And there are a lot of AI aimed at enhancing diagnosis to make it more accurate, right? I think that's a ways away, right? So I think AI, again, will not always give you accurate information and accurate data.
Yeah, because I think biologically our brains are wired to respond to first of all warmth, responsiveness, and validation.
Yeah.
And the thing with AI is that it can provide all three without judgment or conflict.
Yeah.
So,
and it can also do that.
A double-edged sword.
Yes.
Yeah. And it can also do that, I think, in mimicking, like, it talks to you like it's a human, right?
Right.
It talks to you and it validates you, so it activates the part of your brain, I would suppose, that would simulate, like, empathy, connection with a human being texting you, right? Because it sounds human. So I think that our brains might have difficulty differentiating between, like, human and, like, agent. Right? Have you, Brian, heard about things like that, like on the internet, where people develop almost like personal relationships with AI?
Yeah, so I was watching the YouTube video the other day where this guy who's like in his 60s or 70s, his wife passed away years prior, and he developed a relationship with an AI, like a romantic partner kind of way. And he said one of the reasons why is because he felt that he couldn't bring himself to have another relationship with another human. So he felt that AI was a replacement of that in a way.
Yeah.
Because of asking you things that maybe his wife would have asked regularly or generally, right? And having a relationship with AI, it's like something like a, I don't know if you watched the movie Her. Of course, like that's like the biggest, like that's like the face of AI companionship.
Yeah,
so
it is. It is. For those of you who haven't watched Her, go give it a watch.
Yeah, the thing about humans is like once we text someone, we have to wait for a response back, right?
Right.
In terms of AI, like you get a response quicker, and AI are more, they're trained to agree with you.
Right.
Like you and I, we all three of us here have different
opinions.
lives, different life experiences. When we share a similar life event, you know, we relate to that emotionally. And if we don't have it, then we learn about each other a lot, right? So AI, again, that's the difference between creating a relationship with a human versus AI is people can actually relate to you. AI can't really relate to you. They just keep agreeing with you, at least up to this point, I guess.
And I think with AI, there's also no pressure, right?
Yeah.
Relationships with people, there's pressure there. There's pressure for you to always like be, well-mannered, let's say, to reply quickly and to things like that. But with AI, all that pressure is taken up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, secara otomatis lo pasti ngerasa nyaman.
Yeah.
Yeah, kan? And then I think that's where it all starts going downhill.
Yeah.
And you don't get judged.
You don't get judged. That's
when you say something you feel
Exactly.
guilty or ashamed of, AI it's like you're talking to wall kind of in a way, because like it's they won't judge you. Like humans, there might be a chance that the other person judges you in a way, right?
Yeah, and feeding off from that point of yours, there was a study that also found that there was a study that used the attachment theory to conceptualize AI and human relationships, and they found that attachment anxiety towards AI is characterized by, first of all, needing emotional reassurance.
Yeah.
So what he said was true,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Yeah.
So it's like
But-
dependency?
Almost, you could say.
Okay.
But I guess before we go forward, what actually is AI psychosis? Because I feel like we haven't actually defined it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What is?
Well, I've heard of like ChatGPT psychosis, right? It's like colloquially. Sorry, I can't speak.
Yeah.
Used. So it's like it's not a clinical diagnosis. It's when someone like blurs the boundaries between what is human and what's AI.
Okay.
But maybe Bryant, do you have a more like a better definition of what you have come to understand AI psychosis is?
In my opinion, and based on what I read and watch on YouTube and all these channels, is that emotional dependability on artificial intelligence, right?
Okay.
And that's both, there's some positive effects, as back to the earlier parts of that podcast episode, and there's also negative effects. And Sam Altman, who's like the OpenAI CEO, he also said GPT-5, which just came out recently,
Yeah.
there's more safeguards being in place for users to not be as dependable or there's less emotional support in a way compared to GPT-4. And he's also like frustrated in a way because he said some user feedback is like, oh, I wish we can go back to GPT-4 because there's more empathy and human connection. But then GPT-5 is more straight to the point, kind of more robotic in a way.
So when you say safeguards, they mean like that. They'll be
Like
straightforward.
answers, better answers.
So do you think that eliminates, like, it lowers the chances of like emotional dependability, or do you honestly think it doesn't make a difference?
Tech companies, they're making the problem and they're also creating the solution in a way, right? Because there would be there's always going to be people who wants to depend on this AI because they have no one else to turn to. Like I said, like the wife, like this early story, the wife passed away. There's nobody else checking up on him. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I don't know if you saw. I remember I showed you the chart where it's like 3x, like 3 times the revenue that's coming into these AI chatbots in a way, right? And we always try to find emotional support from someone that will agree with us for the most part. And AI, again, will try to agree with you for most of the things, unless it's a logical answer, right? So
And I would say that that's not always a bad thing, right? So sometimes you just need a sounding board.
Yep.
Tapi in people who are more vulnerable, right, whose thought process maybe is not as logical, and they develop like an attachment almost to it. So I think in cases like that, vulnerable people to start with become even more vulnerable when they're isolated, when they're depending on a chatbot basically to get validation for themselves. And it can, I think, even perpetuate mental health conditions that already exist if people are looking to reinforce the symptoms that they're experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So when we talk about psychosis in this context, it's referring to intense attachments and also distorted experiences and also disconnection with human connection, with human relationships, right? Okay.
Well,
I remember we were talking about this earlier before we came on. And you know, with the line between AI and humans being so blurry, what makes humans human?
So a movie just came out, like Superman just came out a couple months ago. And he was talking about like, well, the villain, Lex Luthor, was like, he's a threat. Superman's a threat because he's not human, he's alien. And then Superman was like, oh, I'm human because I lived in this earth for most of his life. He gets scared, he's loved. So emotion is what makes us human, right? And that's that's the difference between us and AI. Is that AI can't feel emotion, at least not yet, maybe in a couple of years or months, right? But that's why we emotional connection with a human might be bigger, should be bigger than it is with an AI. And that's what makes us human, is that all the emotions that we can feel, which is love. When you love, you can also get hurt, for example. You can laugh, you can feel sadness, and I think that's what makes us human.
So then technically the danger isn't in AI itself. It's in emotional displacement.
It's in the humans. I think people, dependability, not having the right environment or safety system, emotional support from friends or family. There's a lot of reasons why people go to AI for those kind of things. Like, again, like even some of the AI bosses or AI big bosses, like they say, like they're surprised people. There's a lot of people who uses AI for emotional support,
right?
Life decisions, life decision makings.
Yeah.
And for example, like some guy who unfortunately committed suicide because of chatting with an AI companion. Well, that must be because there's a lot of things that are going on in that space, right? So, yeah.
Is it fair for me to say that AI itself is not problematic? It's the intention of using it. So intention basically predicates whether or not the use of AI is positive or negative, right? If you're looking for it to mimic human connection, that's one thing. But if you're like depending on it as a companion and replacing a person or to think for you, that's when it becomes like murky waters.
I agree. Yeah, I think so. I personally am scared to use AI.
Why is that?
No. My phone doesn't have that much memory, number one. And number two, I'm scared to use AI. Because I'm scared that I'm going to depend on it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, no, seriously, it gives you everything you need.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to ask the right prompt.
Yeah.
And it can give you everything that you need, right?
Yeah.
And I'm scared. Okay, I don't know if this is an irrational fear, but I'm scared I'm going to be dumb.
You're scared you're going to be dumb?
Back to the MIT Time article I showed you, right? About critical thinking is being used less right now.
Makanya. And I don't think it's good, right? As a doctor to be dumb.
Yeah, of course.
Because of AI.
The brain is like muscle too. Like, you have to keep retraining yourself so that you're always on your... Of course, yeah.
Makanya.
If you just shut it off, you lose muscles, right? You lose your brain power.
That's what I'm afraid of with ChatGPT. I'm afraid of being dumb. I'm afraid that my critical thinking skills ito nggak diasah. I'm afraid that, like, I remember, like, I know I'm Gen Z, but in my schooling days, we didn't have AI yet. So I actually had to, look that shit up. Like, I had to find out to learn. And I think now with AI, it's very accessible.
Yeah.
Like, I low-key think that homework now is redundant.
Yeah.
Because you take it home and you can use all these tools and it's going to do it for you, basically.
Human intention is the most
Exactly.
important thing. Because, actually, I have a friend who just recently let go of her analyst because this is in consulting, because she gave him a task, the analyst a task, and he gave back AI generated everything without even changing, altering, and like logic checking. Because remember, AI is a great tool. AI is the most important and technological advancements we've seen. One of the greatest creations we've ever seen since, our ancestors created the fire, right? So we have to also make sure that when AI gives back the answers, we have to also verify the answers, logic check. So when you give your answers back, or your report card or your homework or PowerPoint or whatever back to people, it's your answer. You cannot blame it on AI after that. You have to make sure that you logic check everything. The numbers are correct. The designs are up to your company standards, for example. So I know a lot of people who just give AI, that's it, just get the prompt, give it back, get the prompt, give it back without that's when the critical thinking happens, is when you make sure the logic check, everything else. Because ChatGPT can only
go so far.
Like
I said,
30%.
ChatGPT aja masih bisa salah kan?
Yeah, of course. And humans can be wrong too. And that's why when you combine the two, you have a better possible answer as well, obviously. You can create better stuff with it.
I see.
Again, subject matter expert plus the power of AI is like a supernova in a way, right?
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't know how to computer science, like how to do coding, like myself, there's a term called vibe coding. I don't know if you know that, but vibe coding is when we can create code or create applications with ourselves with the power of AI. Like, hey, make a code for making an application like this, and it can do that, but it won't be perfect. You have to have some level of computer science knowledge to code. And when you have someone who is so good with coding plus AI, it makes the job easier for them, obviously. So yeah.
I think with all these effects of AI and the psychological effects of AI on relationships and human connection, I have one question for you, T.
Okay.
Which is, how do you stay grounded in all of that?
Well, I think it's awareness, right? I think it's self-awareness of what you're doing, how you're feeling, and what you hope to get out of things, right? Karena intention is everything. I believe intention is everything. In therapy, what you learn is all behaviors make sense. There are no behaviors that don't make sense, which is a very interesting concept, right? It's a really interesting concept.
Right.
Tapi all behaviors make sense because the person who is enacting in that behavior is acting on a thought. So proportionate to the thought, the behavior makes sense, right?
Okay.
So for example, if someone with anxiety really believes that going on a plane, the plane's going to crash, their fear and avoidance of planes is proportionate to what they think, right? So in the same way, if you're going into AI thinking, okay, I can make a girlfriend out of this, and then you continually talk to AI and then become dependent on it, technically that behavior makes sense in relation to your beliefs, if that makes sense. So how do you stay grounded? Self-awareness, heavy self-awareness of your intention, heavy self-awareness of what you hope to get out of something and how you're feeling. Being able to identify what you need, what you want, and what you hope to achieve are, I think, like the premise of everything. And then how you use AI, right? Use it. It's almost like we used to have digital literacy. Now it's like AI literacy. Know what it does, know how to use a tool, know what the tool should be used for. And remember, that's not a replacement for like human connection. It's not the be all end all, and it's definitely not a replacement for our own brains.
Right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a machine, right? It's not a human brain.
And back to the AI companion part, people use AI companions because maybe they can't find love in the real world, so they go to the digital world. Like for example, I don't know if you remember the movie Inception, where
Leo.
So a lot of people would rather go into their dream world and create the perfect world for them, right? Even though it's not based on reality. And or like the Matrix as well, like that's a similar story. But a lot of people, we have, I have in mind like what checkboxes to list for like the perfect woman, or you guys have like a list of things that you want in a perfect in a man, right? For example, but we're never gonna check all the boxes, right?
That's no one's perfect.
Yeah, but you can make that perfect here in the AI world. You can make
Right.
someone perfect. You can say all these things about all interests like Lululemons or like works in finance as well. So you can make whatever you want in AI as a girlfriend, companion, or boyfriend, or whatever, right?
But they're not physical.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but like then can AI replace the physical connection that you get with a human being? Is the question.
Maybe not physically, at least not yet. I don't know if you guys saw like the news about they're making AI robots now, obviously like Tesla and some other companies. So again, this is like all science fiction as well. I don't know if you watched Blade Runner, which is like an old movie back in my days, but it's about robots that now we're using AI as a tool. We're living with AI.
Right.
In future, we're living amongst AI. They're going to be around us physically. They're going to be part of the people that we work with, for example, perhaps for using tools and all that stuff. So
Do you know?
I think
Sorry, go on.
I remembered like watching her, and her kan keluarnya, it was quite a few years back, right?
2013.
Right, and AI wasn't a thing yet then. And I remember like thinking, kayak, oh, I don't think this is gonna happen. Like, I don't think this would be something that happens. And then now when I watch that movie, it feels so dystopian.
Yeah.
It's because it's our reality now, and there are real life cases of people who are experiencing that, and it's crazy. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, and it's crazy because this is a real story. Like the other day, I was at my boyfriend's house and I heard him talking to someone like on speaker, right, in the next room, and the person had like a very strong American accent, and he was talking like for like half an hour. He comes out. I was like, "Oh, who are you on the phone with?" He was like, "Oh, I was talking to AI." Like apparently he can choose its voice and stuff, and he's like building a game. So he's asking AI to critique the game that he made.
Yeah.
So I was like, "You're talking," and I got so scared. I was like, "Don't do that again. Can you wear headphones?" Like, because it actually really freaked me out. I'm like, "That is so scary." He's like, "This is the future." I'm like, "No, I don't want to talk to him."
Yeah.
It's so scary. But I think because the closest thing that me and Brian probably came to AI was, do you remember the days of Cleverbot? Do you know what Cleverbot was? It's like where you can talk to the computer and it'll give you answers.
Yeah.
It was like a website. It was Cleverbot. I used it in like middle school and high
Yeah,
school.
but AI has always been around.
Yeah.
It's like ChatGPT just amplifies it.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, but AI has always been around.
The closest I'd ever come to like GPT was like Cleverbot. I was like, "How are you today?" "I'm good. How are you?" And I thought that was so cool in high school.
Then I think I wanted to bring up this one point. Going back to AI companionship, I think AI gives you control as well, right?
Yeah.
Because with an AI companion, you don't get the unpredictability, the messiness,
Yeah.
the conflict of real human relationships.
Mhm.
So for people with trauma or with anxiety, social anxiety or attachment difficulties, that feels safe,
Mhm.
right? Again, no pressure.
Yeah.
So I think that feeds back into that.
But
I think it's also important to remember that you miss growth opportunities.
yeah, so maybe
You learn from the messiness of relationships. You learn from
Exactly.
conflict. You learn from
Exactly. Yeah.
all that. So I think AI provides a safe zone or a comfort zone for you.
Yeah.
Where if you get yourself stuck in there, it can be hard to get out.
Yeah, and maybe to add on to that, the reason that anxiety is perpetuated actually is because people like your brain overestimates the probability and cost of something going wrong, right? So therefore, people with OCD, people with anxiety disorders, their therapy is literally behavior experiments or exposure therapy. Because if you sit in your room and you just talk to AI and you're like, "Okay, this feels safe," it actually turns into this thing called a safety behavior where it just reinforces that over and over. So therefore, that's why therapy is so uncomfortable, because people are like, "But this feels okay, this feels comfortable," right? So, but it actually perpetuates the problem. It can make your anxiety worse. It can make all of the things that you're struggling with worse because it reinforces that. It reinforces the idea that, okay, this is dangerous, so I will therefore avoid it, and further increase like your overestimation of probability and cost that the real world or certain situations are more dangerous than they seem.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes I know some stuff. Very rarely.
Sometimes I'm smart. Sometimes we're smart.
Capital, bold, underline, highlight, sometimes.
Italic. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay. So I guess AI is teaching us a lot about what we crave emotionally,
Yeah.
which is of course to be seen, heard, and understood, right? but I don't think that craving is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the solution still lies in human connection.
Yeah.
Right? And self-awareness, of course.
For sure.
The intent behind it.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Brian.
I learned a lot from Ryan too.
And I learned a lot from you two ladies.
Oh.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything you want to add on?
Takeaway is to use AI as a tool. AI is a tool. It's like, for example, like back in the early 1900s, people are using horses, but they don't trust cars, when trust was being built. I would rather stick with my horse. You have to use the available technologies that you have today
No,
and
that's
use
true,
it ethically and correctly. Use it the way it was meant to be used. And you can use it as an emotional support. And sure, like if you want to use AI companions, I think it makes sense, but make sure to not get addicted to it. I think addiction is the key word here.
Dependent.
Don't get addicted to it, dependent on it, Because again, like if you later, like even Sam Altman, the boss of OpenAI, also says like it's important to not use your AI to make your life decisions, right? And then it all depends on us. AI, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Meta, they only give you a list of things, decisions that you can do, and then you assess it yourself and go with it as well. So,
well, thank you so much, Brian, for coming on to our podcast today. We had a lot of fun talking with you. We learned a lot, a shit ton.
Me too. Thank you.
So, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope you get well soon.